Over the past few years, the screen of the iPhone has evolved to include higher peak brightness, lower minimum brightness for better reading in dim surroundings, and the dynamic island for better multitasking. Apple could still, however, advance the screens of its smartphone in certain respects, particularly on the lower models. Though there are many more elements that differentiate the Pro models apart than just screen resolution, this is one of the main differences from standard iPhones. The iPhone 16 Pro boasts a titanium body, a dedicated telephoto lens, a somewhat larger screen and better battery life than its counterpart, the iPhone 16. That's a lot, thus it makes me think it's time to translate high refresh rates and an always-on display down to the standard versions. According to Bloomberg, the information and analysts Ming-Chi Kuo and Ross Young, Apple might also change its iPhone lineup next year with the inclusion of an iPhone 17 Slim, which would substitute the iPhone Plus. Should Apple change its strategy for the iPhone 17 family, I hope we would also see more display improvements. After all, everything you do on your iPhone, from watching YouTube videos to sending text messages, playing games, and snapping pictures, is dictated by its screen. The iPhone 16 feels a touch caught in the past with its fixed 60Hz refresh rate. Many phones in the price range of the iPhone 16, such as the Samsung Galaxy S24 and Google Pixel 9, may vary their refresh rates between 1 and 120 Hz. So what does that mean for your phone? A higher refresh rate usually leads in smoother scrolling and animations because the display is being refreshed more often per second. You might see it in specific games depending on what the highest refresh rate that the game supports, but the greatest place where you'll certainly notice it is while scrolling through menus and screens across the operating system. Is it a necessity? No. But a higher refresh rate might make your phone feel a little faster and more responsive, and it feels like it should be a default aspect of the iPhone experience at this point. While we won't know what's in store for the iPhone 17 until Apple officially introduces it next year, a claim from South Korean tech news outlet ET News suggests all iPhone 17 models will come with low-temperature polycrystalline oxide display panels. Those types of displays are now accessible only on the Pro models, so their presence on the ordinary iPhones could imply they'll enable dynamic refresh rates. Like increasing refresh rates, an always-on display should be common across Apple's iPhone portfolio. An always-on display is exactly what it sounds like. It enables your iPhone to keep its lock screen on at low brightness, even while your phone is idle. It can be beneficial for seeing aspects such as the time, alerts, and your widgets at a glance, especially if you don't own an Apple Watch. If you're like me, taking up my phone to check critical information, like a new notice, often leads me into a rabbit hole of distractions. The always-on display helps prevent that, as I can just peek over at my phone without waking it up to see the time or who just texted me. But sadly, this capability is available only on Apple's Pro models dating back to 2022 and takes advantage of the screen on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max and the ability to drop to 1 Hz for the always-on display in 2022. It's one of the few features I missed while upgrading from the iPhone 15 Pro to the iPhone 16, and comparable to high refresh rates, always-on displays have been standard across many Android phones for years. I realize it's a long shot, but hear me out. A nano-texture display could look wonderful on the iPhone. The technology recently debuted on the M4-powered MacBook Pro and the iPad Pro before that, and I think there's an argument that it belongs on the iPhone too. The primary benefit of a nano-texture surface is glare reduction, making it excellent for those who spend a lot of time outside. What better device to have a nano-texture screen than the one you carry with you all the time? Of course, there's the risk that the nano-texture coating could make the display less colorful. But that's why I think nano-texture should be an option for one specific model like the iPhone 17 Pro or Pro Max, not an across-the-board upgrade. The nano-texture screen combined with the Pro's robust titanium might make it the best iPhone for outdoorsy types. To be fair, there's no indication that Apple has any intentions to introduce a nano-texture display to the iPhone. But if it did, I also wouldn't be surprised if it found a method to keep the strong colors of the iPhone screen even with nano-texture, especially considering the business creates unique technology. Apple might possibly find another way to improve the iPhone's glare reduction. Samsung, for example, employs Corning Gorilla Armor on the Galaxy S24 Ultra's display to reduce down glare. Apple partners with Corning on the ceramic shield coating for the iPhone screen, so it wouldn't be odd to see a new version more suited to remove glare in the future. However, there hasn't been any clue concerning Apple's forthcoming plans for Ceramic Shield. The screen is important to the iPhone experience, and Apple obviously realizes this. Whether it's hardware modifications like the iPhone 16's 1 nit minimum brightness, new software interfaces like iOS 17 standby mode, or a combination of both hardware and software like the dynamic island. Now, I'd like to see Apple pay more attention to the screens on the lowest iPhone models and think of new ways it can push the Pro's display forward. Next, introducing the second phase of Apple Intelligence features to iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 16 models. This update offers numerous key upgrades to Apple's AI integration, including fully new image production tools and a range of visual intelligence-based enhancements. There are a handful of new non-AI related feature controls incoming as well. While not all stated Apple Intelligence features will be available immediately, iOS 18.2 adds numerous capabilities that aim to make your iPhone smarter and more intuitive. So we've listed 10 new things your iPhone will be able to perform when the update comes out in December. Find My has a new option to share item location with an airline or trusted person that can help you locate something that you've misplaced. Choosing the Share Item Location option creates a link that lets someone view the location of a lost item when they open the link. The link may be opened on a non-Apple device, so an iPhone or Mac is not required to provide someone with your item's location. Links expire after a week or when you're reunited with your misplaced item. More than 15 airlines will offer the capability, which will be integrated into each airline's customer support process for tracking mishandled or delayed baggage, according to Apple. On iPhone 16 models, under Display and Brightness in the Settings app, there is a new camera control toggle called Require Screen On. When enabled, this setting requires that your iPhone screen is lighted before a touch of the camera control button will activate the camera app or a suitable third-party camera app. It's a nice alternative if you find yourself tapping the button accidentally. When iOS 18 was introduced in September, it brought a substantial revamp to the Photos app on the iPhone, but some of the modifications got mixed reviews. Since launching iOS 18, Apple has made continual tweaks to the app, and that looks poised to continue with iOS 18.2. In the current beta, the video player has been changed to take more screen area, reducing the thick borders observed in earlier iOS 18 releases. Now, videos display in full screen without having a tap to expand them. Prior to 2022, the volume slider was a familiar feature on the lock screen anytime media was playing. When Apple launched iOS 16, however, it deleted the feature without explaining the rationale, much to the dismay of many consumers. Important emails are grouped in a primary category, while other sorts are categorized into 3 additional groups. The Transactions area streamlines access to receipts, orders, and shipping information, allowing you to quickly discover your transactions. Meanwhile, the Updates area combines newsletters, appointment reminders, and various subscription emails, keeping you informed. Lastly, the Promotions category promotes exceptional offers and promotional messaging to make sure you don't miss out on any discounts. Image Playground is an entirely new program meant to help you create images based on your ideas. Similar to ChatGPT, you can generate photographs by supplying a prompt, and Apple offers suggested categories like themes, places, and costumes to spark your creativity. The program focuses on styled content, meaning the generated graphics won't be realistic, but can choose from animation and illustration styles. Additionally, you can integrate likenesses of friends and family by pulling photographs directly from your Photos app. While Image Playground acts as a standalone app, it can also be incorporated into apps like Notes and Messages and added to third-party applications. Apple is cooperating with OpenAI to implement ChatGPT into the iPhone, iPad, and Mac. This cooperation allows Siri to handle difficult requests by directing them to ChatGPT, such as generating graphics or composing text from scratch. With the Writing Tools function, ChatGPT can write and illustrate unique content, boosting its capabilities beyond what Siri can now give. For instance, you can open a lengthy PDF and ask Siri to summarize material on a specific topic. Siri can then transmit this request to ChatGPT to provide a detailed description. Apple envisions Siri as a facilitator for AI models and tools, optimizing available resources to present you with answers without the need to navigate between several apps. If you have an iPhone 16, you may make advantage of visual intelligence, a function that delivers insights about your surroundings. For instance, when you open the camera and aim it at a restaurant, you'll obtain details such as opening hours and reviews. Additional capabilities of visual intelligence include reading text aloud, identifying phone numbers and addresses for adding to contacts, copying text, and summarizing information. Users may also search Google to learn where to purchase a certain item they see, and by pointing the camera at an object, they can obtain extra information through ChatGPT. Apple aims to extend this functionality by offering more functionalities in the future. Apple is improving the Writing Tools function to give choices for more open-ended customizations. In iOS 18.1, Writing Tools can only modify the tone to friendly, professional, or a simplified version. However, with the introduction of iOS 18.2, users will be able to specify the desired tone or content adjustments, such as inserting more action words or changing an email into a poetry. So, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting updates on the latest technology. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.